This is the video answer key for Accelerated Math 7 Unit 2 test review, question number 7. The graph below shows the amount of time a person can shower with a certain amount of water. So let's take a look at the graph. There's no title. There should be a title. Let's title it now. I'll call it Water Used During Shower. Okay. We know what we're going to be asked here. We're dealing with proportional relationships. So I'm going to say before we get started, let's go ahead and figure out what these points are. So take a look at the x-axis. X is always on the bottom, so x measures gallons, which means y measures minutes. My first point, it's a proportional relationship. We've got a straight line going through the origin. That first point has to be 0, 0. Along this x-axis, every 1, 2, 3, 4 notches, we're going up 20. So that means every 1 notch we must be going up 5. So we have a scale of 5 on the x-axis. And on the y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, every 5, we're going up 5. So the scale on the y-axis is 1. So that means this point here is 3 over on the x and 5 up on the y. That's going to be 15, 5. Our next point here, let's see what it lines up with. We've got, here's 20, 25, 30, and 10. So let's label this second point 30, 10. Our third point corresponds with 45 and 15. So our next point is 45, 15. After that, we've got 60 on the x-axis and 20 on the y-axis. So 60, 20. And last but not least, we've got 75 and 25. Remember that when I'm calculating unit rate or constant of proportionality, I'm always going to do k equals y over x. So make sure in this example that you're taking the y value divided by the x value. We already know that it's proportional, so it doesn't matter which point I start with, I will get the same answer. Let's take 30 and 10. Those are easy numbers to do in our head. So our y value is 10, and our x value is 30. Therefore, our k, or y over x, is equal to 10 divided by 30, which as a simplified fraction is 1/3. So if you got 3 for this answer, that means you did x divided by y. You should always take your dependent variable divided by your independent variable, so y over x. So let's take a look at our questions now that we've explored the graph a little bit. Question A. Is the number of gallons of water used proportional to the number of minutes spent in the shower? If they are proportional, state the constant of proportionality. If they are not proportional, explain how you know. Well, we already answered that question when we were just looking at the graph. Yes, they are proportional. And it doesn't say we have to say how we know. It just says we have to state the constant of proportionality, which we figured out when we were exploring. So I'll say yes, k equals 1/3. If you want to also include an explanation, that's awesome. You're going above and beyond. You don't actually need the explanation because it doesn't ask for it. Part B. Write an equation relating the number of minutes the person spends in the shower, y, to the number of gallons of water they use. Well, that equation will always look like y equals kx. We know that k is 1/3, so I can say y equals 1/3 x. Part C, explain what the point 0, 0 means in the context of this situation. So here's 0, 0 on our graph. 0 corresponds to 0 gallons and 0 minutes. So I'll say, and yours needs to mean roughly the same thing as mine, but does not need to use the same words. If I used 0 gallons of water I took a 0-minute shower. Alternatively, you might say, if I used 0 gallons of water, I didn't take a shower. Part D says, which point on the graph represents how long a person could shower if they had 1 gallon of water? So if we were at 1 gallon, well, it's hard to see that point on the graph because it's not marked as its own individual point, but that's okay. It's still there because that line is just a connection of points. All right? So that line, if x is 1, y has to be the constant of proportionality. That's one of our rules for proportional relationships. So I'll say that that has to be 1, 1/3.